Welcome back to Turner Field in Atlanta. Threat of rain, definitely the possibility. Tom Goodwin looking up, though, hoping that this one will get underway. Goodwin, of course, the speedster from the Texas Rangers. He'll be the leadoff guy, the first one of the season for the 2000 campaign. And, of course, Jeff Cirillo, many things expected of Cirillo this year as he'll back cleanup, and he really brings a gritty determination to this squad, and we'll see how that translates as far as the win total is concerned in the 2000 season. Of course, new uniforms and a new manager again for the third straight year. Buddy Bell, the new skipper, we had a chance to sit down with him and ask him about his time as a player and how it translates to a manager.
It really all depends on what aspect of the game you're talking about. You know, if you're talking about my physical talents, you know, obviously those are, a lot of it was instinctive. A lot of it was just playing when I was a kid. Growing up in a baseball family, my dad was a tremendous influence on me from a physical standpoint, and even more on the mental side of things. He was very instrumental in the way I really approach it, and I really think the players should respect the game of baseball. You know, this is a very hard game to play, and I know that as well as anybody. And that's, I think, where my patience comes from. I have quite a bit of patience when it comes to producing or, you know, guys striking out. But when a guy is not a good teammate and he doesn't play the game like he should from an intensity standpoint, then that to me is unacceptable. And hopefully we can kind of do that here. And, you know, quite frankly, we got some good kids here that understand that. And, you know, that's really a positive for me.
In talking to some of the people around baseball about you, the one word that comes up more than any other word is he's a pro. I mean, that's got to be the highest compliment you can be paid, right?
Well, it is. You know, and it depends on who you're talking to. Yeah, it is. And, you know, I have so much respect for this game, and I have even more respect for the people that not only play it, but are involved with it. And there's a lot of great people. And, you know, I don't really remember any one particular game in my career, but I certainly remember the cities that I played in and the guys that I played with. And, you know, if I wasn't able to do this job tomorrow, I wasn't able to play in this game tomorrow, I would still say this is the greatest experience I've ever had.
One more question. In a perfect world, what does Buddy Ball look like?
Well, first of all, I don't like that particular Buddy Ball thing, but I just think it's a get after type game. You know, you guys that just get after it every night, and they show up every night, they show up for every pitch, they show up for every at bat, they show up for every game. And it's a 162 game schedule. That's an awful tough thing to ask for. But when you really look at our game, you know, we're so fortunate and so lucky that we're able to play it, and we're so fortunate to be around the people that are in this game that really that's not too much to ask.
All right, buddy, we'll continue our conversation tomorrow, but right now we're ready for baseball. The 2000 season is about ready to start. Greg Maddux warming up. Rockies coming up in just a moment.
Back just in time to see the first pitch, a swing and a foul back by Tom Goodwin. Well, Goodwin again, one of those newcomers for the Rockies. Goodwin digging in, the leadoff man. He will actually platoon this year with the new acquisition, Brian Hunter. Hunter hits from the right side. Goodwin strictly left-handed, and he quickly falls in a hole 0-2.
Well, you'd hope what he brings to the ball club is the leadoff hitter that can steal bases and put pressure on the starting pitcher.
Of course, Greg Maddux on the hill for the Braves. Maddux, he is making his 7th opening day start. He is 5-0 on opening day in his 14-year career with an ERA of under 2. Fastball right through there, and Goodwin caught looking. Good start for Maddux and the Braves.
Typical Greg Maddux, great control. He just locks up Goodwin early in the ball game. You see the perfect setup behind the plate and the pitch right on the inside half.
Eddie Perez, the backstop again for the Braves. He caught all 33 of Maddox's starts last year. Well, here's Mike Lansing. Glad to be back in the lineup again after missing most of last year after back surgery. Lansing looks at strike one. Lansing, of course, not only glad to be back in the lineup, but turning 32 today. Strike two.
You're looking at vintage Maddux. All strikes so far. Only one of them out of the strike zone, and it was a purpose pitch. High and inside to Goodwin to back him off. Came right back in with it.
Strike three called. 3 pitches to Lansing, all 3 strikes. Lansing never got his bat off his shoulder. Let's take a look at the Eagle Hardware starting lineup for the Rockies. You've already seen Goodwin and Lansing. Larry Walker, he was iffy coming into this one. He said, let me play today, even with bad calves. Cirillo, much counted on him from the cleanup spot. Then Helton, Hammonds, Perez, Maine, and Astacio. So Larry Walker at the plate. 3 straight 360-plus campaigns. And he starts off the 2000 season in good fashion by lining a single to left field.
Well, you look at the 2 first at-bats by the Rockies hitters, Goodwin and Lansing, and they took the first pitch. Walker and the on-deck circle, pretty obvious. Hey, he's throwing strikes. He's trying to keep the ball away from a left-hander to get ahead. Walker keeps his weight back. I'll tell you one thing about Walker. He'll keep his weight back, the hands stay back, and then explode on the baseball. He doesn't try to pull the pitch, is what Maddux would like to see happen. Then you get the ground ball to second. Nice job of hitting by Walker to go the opposite field.
So Walker hasn't played in the last 3 or 4 days because of a calf injury. He comes right up out of bed and bam, a single already. So Walker batting 1,000, and here's Jeff Cirillo. Cirillo hits a slow tapper up the middle. Weiss has got it. The flip to second in time, and that'll do it. So the Rockies go down without much of a fight. Maddux striking out 2 in the first. The Braves are coming up. Colorado Rockies baseball on Fox Sports Net Rocky Mountain is brought to you by Eagle Hardware and Garden. More of everything. By AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. And by Brewery Fresh Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball. This Bud's for you. Well, Bobby Cox, longtime skipper of these Braves. Man, what a decade they just came off, even though they lost the World Series, being swept by the Yankees, winning the National League once again. And the Braves, they've not stood pat. They have 9 new faces on their opening day roster as well. And one of them we'll get a look at leading off. Here he is, Kilvio Veras from San Diego. First 2 guys in the lineup, in fact, for the Braves are both new, Veras and Sanders, and both coming from San Diego. Of course, the Braves busy in that offseason, trading away Ryan Klesko and Brett Boone to San Diego to get that pair. Kilvio Veras, they expect him to get on base. He has a very good on-base percentage in his career. In fact, .371, and they'd love him to steal some bases. The first pitch from Astacio is high and wide, ball 1.
Well, that's another part of the puzzle that the Braves have not had for a couple of years, as a leadoff man that could get on base and steal some bases. So they feel like they've put the puzzle together with Veras.
A slapper down to Nafi Perez. The new daddy throws out Veras. And 1 up, 1 down for the Braves. So let's take a look at that Braves lineup brought to you by Eagle Hardware and Garden. We just saw Veras. He's followed by Reggie Sanders. Then last year's MVP Chipper Jones, Brian Jordan. How about the Cat? Oh, isn't it good to see Andres Galarraga back in the lineup? And what a spring he had. Yes, indeed. With apologies to Dr. Seuss, the Cat is back and wearing a Braves hat. Andrew Jones, Eddie Perez, Walt Weiss, and Greg Maddux round out that lineup for the Braves. Swing and a miss on a good fastball from Astacio. Reggie Sanders down in the hole, 0-1. Well, Sanders hitting .309 in the spring. Traditionally a slow starter. Hit just .186 last April for the Padres. But what a good year Sanders had. 26 homers and 36 stolen bases. So almost a 30-30 guy. Foul straight back, 0-2. Sanders, they say, will not only bring them some more offense, George, up at the top of the lineup, but also the defensive outfield for the Braves. It's about as good as anybody.
Well, Klesko could hit the ball out of the ballpark, but couldn't cover a lot of ground in left field. But you had to keep his bat in the lineup for the home runs and the RBIs. One thing Sanders brings is the whole package. He can first to third, stealing bases, and putting pressure in the 2-hole, can handle the bat.
A little similar then between Dante Bichette and Jeffrey Hammonds, almost the same switch.
Well, it is that type of a switch.
1-2 the count to Sanders. Sanders, of course, a long time with the Reds. He was with Cincinnati from 91 through 98. Checked in time, and it's 2-2. Well, Estacio getting his first career start on opening day.
First career start on opening day. He started 2 home openers for the Rockies. Fastball, slider, curve, and a changeup. His out pitch is the changeup. That was a pitch he brought with him from L.A. that wasn't being used very much. The Rockies got him to use it more, and the 200 innings in 4+ years tells you exactly what Estacio can do as a starter. And I'll tell you, you're watching him pitch now, Dave. You've seen a lot of pitches up in the strike zone. Maybe part of the nervous energy that he's bringing to the ball club with his first opening day start for the Rockies, and for himself personally. There's got to be a pretty good amount of high energy right now for Estacio. So he has to stay back on that back leg a little longer and get the ball down in the strike zone.
That's a pretty good pitch right there, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, blew it right by him.
So 2 up, 2 down for the Braves. A similar start for the Braves offense as to the Rockies. Now behind Estacio defensively. And again, a new look for the Rockies. And this is where the changes that Dan O'Dowd made might really pay off, especially in that outfield. Walker, of course, you know all about him with his 5 Gold Gloves. But Goodwin and Hammonds really give them some great legs in the outfield. Cirillo better defensively than Vinny Castilla. Then Perez, Lansing, and Helton round out that infield. Maine, the new catcher behind the plate. And Estacio's pitch to Chipper Jones, another fastball that he blows right by him. Now Chipper Jones, last year's MVP. Look at his numbers from the spring. Chipper Jones last year hit .319 with 45 home runs. In addition to that, 110 runs batted in. And, George, I remember that Chipper Jones pretty much wrapped up the MVP with that series against New York when he hit 4 home runs in 3 days.
Yeah, 4 home runs in 3 days, basically wins the division for the Braves over the Mets. I would have to say that solidified any doubt in anybody's mind that voted for the MVP.
By the way, the 45 homers for Jones last year, that's a National League record for switch hitters. The previous record, Todd Hundley, who had hit 41. Fouled out of play. Again, a fastball riding in on Chipper Jones.
You notice the pattern between both of the pitchers today. Maddux with a lot of fastballs early in the ball game. Estacio a lot of fastballs. Hasn't used the changeup or the curveball yet. Trying to establish the fastball, locate it within the strike zone, and gain that confidence.
2-2 pitch is high and wide. Full count now to Chipper Jones. How long does it take for a pitcher like Estacio to get used to a new catcher like Brent Maine?
Well, you hope in the 5 starts in spring training that Maine and Service both maybe split time working with him, and when he worked on the side or through batting practice, those things all factor into it. Then you sit down as a catcher and as a pitcher and you say, okay, how do you want to pitch certain guys? And you go to your strengths. You don't necessarily go to their weaknesses all the time, because that's what you want to try to get people out with. If it's the fastball in and Jones is a good fastball hitter in, you still go in there if you think you can get it in on it. Again, the 3-2 pitch is low. Ball 4. So Jones gets aboard with a free pass, and that'll get Brian Jordan to the plate. Estacio, 17 wins last year against 11 losses. 7 complete games. That set a Rockies record. And Brian Jordan, he played pretty much the second half of last year with a banged-up hand. He was hit on the 22nd of June last year by a Mike Thurman fastball. It really bothered him, but still, Jordan had a great year. Batting cleanup in the place of Galarraga. He had 23 home runs. Strike on the outside edge. Strike 1 to Jordan. You see Jordan's numbers from last year. He really credits their trainer, their strength coach. Fly ball to right field. Walker's got a beat on it. Into the corner. He's got it in fair territory. So Walker lopes after it and grabs that one in the corner. And Pedro Estacio off to a pretty good start. As Estacio gets by the Braves first. No damage. Striking out Reggie Sanders in the process. Well, Buddy Bell, boy, what a nice man this guy has turned out to be. Really been fun getting to know him through the spring. Buddy Bell, the 3rd skipper in Rockies history, and for the 3rd straight year, the Rockies make a change. Last year, Leland retired after just 1 year with the team.
But Buddy Bell, his 4th Major League season as a manager, he spent 3 years with the Tigers.
Well, I think it's for Buddy to come to this ball club, a little bit more veteran club, and guys that know how to play the game at a higher level. Let's put it that way. He had a youth movement in Detroit. And he's brought a couple of players with him over here, and Hunter, one of them, that should benefit the Rockies.
Helton rips it to center field. Jones comes in to make the play. Does anybody play a better defensive center field than Andrew Jones? He just took a hit away from Helton.
Yeah, he retired. He wore number 24, too.
Willie, you mean Willie?
Yeah, with any other center fielder, this is probably a base hit. But Jones plays center field so shallow that he's able to move in on Helton's line drive and make the catch. Todd Helton lifetime against Maddux, 462. Great catch by Jones in center field.
Obviously, the comparison will be to Ken Griffey Jr., who's now with the Reds. Ball 1 to Jeffrey Hammonds. And I was asking Joe Simpson, one of the Braves broadcasters, and Joe was with the Mariners as a broadcaster there for 5 years. And I said, all right, what do you think? Andrew Jones versus Ken Griffey Jr. And he said, similar age, similar play. You just can't separate them. They are both that good. Well, here's Hammonds, and he looks at a strike, and it's 1-2. Hammonds getting a real shot now to have this breakthrough campaign. That's what the Rockies are hoping for.
Well, he's never been given the opportunity by a ball club to say, here, you're going to play 140 to 150 ball games due to injuries, and given the opportunity by a manager. He's getting that chance now to prove to baseball that he can play and play, and I think a guy that can hit 30 home runs.
Hammonds has been brilliant in the spring, hitting .359 for the Rockies. Fastball got him looking. So Hammonds strikes out. That's the 3rd for Maddux, and all 3 with the Rocky batters standing there, as Ernie Harwell would say, like a house by the side of the road.
You know, you get 2 strikes on you as a hitter, you got to be a little bit more aggressive. Now, I'm sure that Hammonds may have thought this pitch was high, but it looked pretty much right down the middle of the plate. Last year, 19-9 to 357 earned run average, one of the highest in his career since 1990. This is what I like about Maddux. 3,000 plus innings and only 691 walks. The only way you're going to beat him is swing the bat. He doesn't walk very many people, and they say, what is his strikeout pitch? Well, I think it's the strike zone.
Really?
Yeah, he throws any one of his 3 or 4 pitches. He can put them within the strike zone, inside, outside, up and down. So he's an east-west, north-south pitcher. And when you can do that and take advantage and expand the strike zone as he has over the case over the years, you're going to have success.
Swing and a miss. Perez over the top of a curveball, and it's 1-2. Hey, don't miss the start of the 2000 season at Coors Field. Rockies open it up against Junior. We were just talking about him, and of course Dante Bichette returns next Monday, a week from today. Tickets are still available for all games in April. You can get your tickets at the Coors Field ticket office, Rockies dugout stores, King Supers, or by calling 1-800-388-ROCK, or go online at coloradorockies.com. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Perez. That one inside.
Yeah, Maddux upset with himself. He was trying to throw the fastball in on Perez that he did with Goodwin earlier in the ball game, where it's a fastball that looks like the hitter has to back off of the ball, but it runs back over the corner of the plate, and Maddux has hung on to the ball a little bit long and got it out of the strike zone.
Swing and a miss. 2 more strikeouts for Maddux. Well, guess who's coming up? Andres Galarraga. We'll head to break quickly so we can see the return of the Cat at Turner Field. Well, here he is, the man who has a great chance of being the comeback player of the year, Andres Galarraga. Let's listen to the ovation. Up and into the Cat. So Nafi Perez, big fan of Andres Galarraga. A lot of these guys are. I wonder what their emotions are like seeing the cat back. Of course, missed all last year with lymphoma cancer. And I was talking with John Sherholtz, the general manager of the Braves, and I said, even if it just has an average year, he is the comeback player of the year. And he said, comeback player? Heck, he's the comeback person of the year.
I mean, cancer, a very serious thing, and to be able to come back and play baseball at this level, it's phenomenal in itself.
What he did this spring, hitting .347, still the power, 3 home runs. Fouled off his foot. Galarraga, of course, in '98, 44 home runs, and he was most proud of that because he had been labeled, like so many other Rocky players, as a Coors Field hitter, and then to come here and hit 44.
Well, it's got to make you feel good because you prove all of baseball wrong, that it's not the ballpark, it's what's tucked up underneath these sleeves.
You mean the
Those
guns?
aren't toy cannons up underneath there.
No, they're not. Bobby Cox is glad to have him back. That one hit him. On the hand, Galarraga gets hit by a pitch. Galarraga has been hit by more pitches than any current player in baseball. That's now 138 in his career.
Part of that is how close he stands to the plate with his back foot, and then with the open stance, and he strides into the ball. Then you put that equation together with a guy that throws inside, and Estacio, you see how he dives in on the pitches to extend those arms to generate the power. Estacio trying to limit that by coming hard in. He just got a little too much in and catches on this right on the wrist. Not the way you want to lead off an inning. Although Galarraga with 5 career home runs against Estacio.
Galarraga saying, well, that's some fine howdy do. Welcome back, huh? Well, here's Andruw Jones. Jones, what a spring he had offensively. Man, .397 with 7 homers. George, a little bit like Galarraga, he's opened up his batting stance somewhat.
Just a little bit. The bat's held a little bit higher. It looks like he's closer to home plate, too, and it's probably trying to get more plate coverage on the outside half of the plate.
Well, that's the first breaking ball from Estacio, and it's a dandy.
And what I mean by plate coverage, so many people would throw him a hard fastball in and go with the breaking ball down and away out of the strike zone. So what he has done is define his strike zone that much better, and then he's able to reach out and catch a slider and hit it to the opposite field.
Another breaking ball. That one's staying inside. It's 2-1 to Jones. Everybody says he's going to have that breakthrough year offensively. Who knows? This could be it. Played in all 162 games for the Braves last season. He's only the 3rd Brave to ever do that since moving to Atlanta. Bouncing ball. Cirillo's got it. To Lansing for 1. The relay not in time, but what a play by Cirillo to take a hit away from Jones. Well, that'll make you feel a little more comfortable in the Rocky pinstripes.
A lot of coverage at third base. Cirillo from his knees, the quick exchange to the hand to throw over to Lansing. Lansing with trouble getting the ball out of the glove, which allowed Jones to be safe at first base. Look at the range displayed by Cirillo, and then the quickness to get the ball out, the perfect throw over to Lansing. Then you see Lansing have a little trouble at second base on the exchange from the glove to the hand. So what I like was the range that you see out of Cirillo. I don't think you're going to see a ball game where his uniform's clean at the end of it.
This one popped on the infield. Lansing, no problem there. He's got it. And there are 2 outs in the books now, and the Braves second. And that all goes with the game plan of Dan O'Dowd. More speed, better defense, better range all around for the Rockies.
Well, I don't know how you would go back and figure it, but to go back and look how many balls got hit into the gap that maybe would have been caught by Hammonds or a Goodwin that weren't caught by Bichette, or how many balls in the left side of the infield maybe creeped through on the left-hand side past Castilla. Now, can they make up the difference? How many runs will they save you with the defense?
How many will they save you? And not to take anything away at all from the contributions of both Bichette and Castilla. Long-time Rockies. Bichette, of course, played in every opening day at Coors Field. Now he's replaced by this fellow, Jeffrey Hammonds. And the contributions that both Bichette and Castilla made, unbelievable. Now Goodwin, as he replaces Hamilton in center field. And then, of course, Walker out and right. Rockies defensively with so many weapons now, so much opportunity to cover that outfield. And of course, you know, Coors Field, it is a vast acreage out there.
Well, you looked it up yesterday. I mean, when was the last time a ball club led the league in home runs, RBIs, and won a World Series? You look at the clubs that win, they have good starting pitching, a good closer, but more importantly, they have great defense behind all of that.
Here's Walt Weiss, another former Rocky. Walt battling through a myriad of injuries last year. Speaking to him before the game, quite simply his goal for the year, stay healthy. The Braves are very excited, George, about a shortstop of the future, Rafael Furcal. 19 years old. They're going to try to get him to 300 at-bats this year. And Furcal, a guy that they really think his ceiling is very high.
Well, and Bobby Cox feels like he can get him 300 at-bats or he wouldn't have stuck with the Major League ball club.
Ground ball, Lansing's got it, and that'll do it. So the hit batsman of Colorado to lead things off does not do any damage as Estacio then gets Jones, Perez, and Walt Weiss. 2 in the books. No score from Turner Field. El Gato Grande, just good to see him back in a uniform, back on the field. So Galarraga hit by that pitch. No damage done, though, as we head to the 3rd inning in a scoreless ball game. It'll be Brent Mayne, Pedro Estacio, and Tom Goodwin up for the Rockies. Well, here's another newcomer, Brent Mayne, long time with the Royals, then with the Mets briefly, also with San Francisco. In fact, he is one of 6 former Giant catchers that have worn a Rocky uniform. Can you name the other 5? Think about that for a second. We'll give you the answer in a bit. You should know 2 or 3 for sure. 2 were with the team last year and the year before. Another is with the team this year, another newcomer.
Well, you know, when Dan O'Dowd decided to go with the 2 veteran catchers versus bringing along Ben Petrick so fast, I think the defensive liabilities that Petrick had at the end of the year last year was a concern to the Rockies. And so that's why they go out and they sign Mayne to come in as the primary catcher. Then Scott Service, a guy that lives in Castle Rock. How excited can he be right now to be in a Rockies uniform, sleep in his own bed every night?
Yes.
But to rush it along, then Freddie Kendall and Buddy Bell worked with Petrick to get his defense where it should be, and that's what's made it that much more accessible for the Rockies. And then Petrick's ready to be ready to go.
Well, Mayne with a fly ball to center. That's handled by Jones. 1 out in the 3rd. Well, think your sports knowledge is second to none? Check out Sports Geniuses, the new nightly game show that'll challenge the most knowledgeable of sports fans. Sports Geniuses, weeknights at 6 and 11, right here on Fox Sports Net. Estacio the batter. All right, we won't tease you any longer. The other former Giant catchers that have worn Rocky uniforms, of course, we told you about Mayne, and we already told you about Scott Service. He was with the Giants last year. The others, Jeff Reed and Kurt Manwaring. Those are the 2, maybe the other that you should have gotten easily. But how about Steve Decker and Matt Noakes? A couple other former Giant catchers that have also been with the Rockies. Bouncing ball, Maddux has got it. No problem for this 10-time Gold Glove winner. And Maddux throws out his counterpart to quickly make it 2 gone in the 3rd. 10 straight Gold Gloves for Greg Maddux. He now has more Gold Gloves as a pitcher than any other pitcher in National League history. Last year, with his 10th, he went by a guy by the name of Bob Gibson with the Cardinals. Now he's looking and setting his sights on Jim Cott, who had 16 Gold Gloves in the American League.
Well, and the only question there would be is Maddux pitches another 6 years.
Yes. When you talk about Greg Maddux as Goodwin digs in, Goodwin striking out looking his first time up, you think of the word consistency. Boy, what a consistent decade he has had. Swing and a miss by Goodwin. He has won at least 15 games, Maddux, in each of the last 12 years. There are only 3 other pitchers in baseball history who have done that. The others are Christy Mathewson, Christy Mathewson, Cy Young, and Gaylord Perry, as Goodwin hits a pop fly to left field, and Sanders with the souvenir to the crowd as the Rockies go in order. 7 straight gun down, scoreless, heading to the bottom of the 3rd. Baseball on Fox Sportsnet Rocky Mountain is brought to you by AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. And by Dodge. In a perfect world, everything would be different. With George Frazier, Dave Armstrong, glad to have you along here. Buddy Bell's debut as the Rockies manager and the debut of the 2000 campaign. Pitchers duel so far between Astacio and Maddux. And Maddux leading off for the Braves in the third.
I felt like this would be the matchup we'd probably get with Maddux and Astacio. Astacio picked up where he left off last year in spring training, throwing the ball very well, and the confidence in this ballpark. Astacio back in '97 probably had his best start at Turner Field. He went 8 innings, didn't give up a run. He struck out 12. And then again in May of '99, he went 6 innings, gave up 3 runs in that ball game.
Foul ball out of play. 1 strike to Maddux.
So I think it's deceiving to think that Astacio 2-12 against the Braves lifetime is a very deceiving record.
He likes it a lot better at Turner Field, doesn't he? Well, the Rockies, a little deceiving in their record against the Braves. The Braves lead the all-time series 50-26, but since '96, the series is even at 20 games apiece. The Braves really roughed up the Rockies, especially those first 2 years. Foul ball out of play. Still 2 strikes on Maddux.
Maddux may be one of those pitchers you do him a favor by throwing him in breaking ball where he can adjust to it, because he's a pretty good hitter. But as most pitchers, they don't like anybody that's throwing 95 miles an hour.
Hey kids, you could be a Rockies celebrity bat boy or bat girl. Nabisco and King Supers are choosing over 80 bat boy and bat girl winners during the Rockies 2000 home season. Winners can meet the Rockies and bring 3 friends to the game. Bouncing ball, Cirillo. Throws across his body, 1 up, 1 down in the third.
I don't think it'll take long for the Rockies faithful to get used to Cirillo at third base.
I don't either.
Bring some excitement to the ball club.
Why does he remind me so much of the second baseman of the Astros, Biggio?
He does. His look.
Yeah.
Short hair, the All-American look, the hard play.
All he's missing is the pine tar all over his body. Gilby O'Veras, the batter. Looking to bunt, pulls it back and takes a strike, 1-1. Veras hit a ground ball to Nafi Perez his first time up. Veras, of course, originated in Florida, playing for the Marlins. With San Diego the last few years. Braves coming off a season in which they had the best record in baseball. 103 wins for the Braves last year. 1 hopper. Lansing gets his body down in front of it, scoops it, and throws over to Helton in time. 2 up, 2 down in the third.
Nice to see Mike Lansing react to baseballs in that fashion in early spring training. I think he still had tough time with the confidence level, trusting the back. Getting down on a lot of balls, stretching it out. Not much time to react on a ball hit that hard, but still had to stay down on it. Mike did a nice job of it, made a nice play.
Might be the best thing that could have happened to Lansing. Have a hot shot right at him.
You get tested early.
Now Sanders lays off the curveball. Now we're seeing more and more breaking stuff from Astacio.
Well, that's what you, first time through your lineup, you set what you may try to do later in the ball game. Second time through, change the pattern. Another breaking ball by Astacio. Even the count at 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, Pedro last year, 232 innings pitched. Fastball just missed outside.
Well, one of the keys I saw in Astacio last year was he would get late into a ball game and get into trouble. And when he got into trouble, he was able to reach back and get that extra 2 or 3 miles an hour and blow it by people or make the pitch that he had to make in situations. And that's the difference in a guy that's going to win 15 to 20 games and not be successful in the big leagues.
Sanders hits a fly ball to left field, but it's playable in front of the warning track. Hammonds tracks it down, and the Braves go in order. 5 straight retired by Estacio, and Larry Walker, who has the game's only hit, will lead off, or excuse me, bat second for the Rockies in the 4th.
Well, the ball game still knotted up 0-0 in a great pitching duel between Greg Maddux. And let's take a look at his day. Started the ball game off with a good fastball on the inside corner, then goes away on Mike Lansing for a strikeout. And then again on the outside corner, comes back with Nafi Perez and a breaking ball on a 3-2 count out of the strike zone. So typical Maddux, working both sides of the plate and working up and down. It reflects on the scoreboard, only giving up 1 hit, but Estacio has matched him. No hits so far in the ball game through 3 innings.
Well, Lansing looked at 3 pitches his first time up. He has seen 4 pitches now from Maddux, all strikes. You got to know with Lansing, he's just so thrilled to be back in that lineup again. He, like Galarraga, missing almost all of last year. Not quite. He was hitting over 300 when he finally had to succumb to the back pain and eventually the back surgery.
Well, when you're a tough competitor like Mike and like to be on the field every single day and play as hard as he plays, I know it bothered him all year long not to be able to try to correct the problems that were happening with the Rockies. And so he's so eager to get on the field and play. And we've seen him get tested a couple of times today on a ground ball that he stayed down on well, then a hot shot and a fly ball. So the aspect of the game other than running the bases so far, Mike's been able to do that on opening day.
The 2-strike pitch is low and outside. 1-2 to Mike Lansing. Now Greg Maddux, 14th year in the big leagues. He will turn 34 in about a week. Lansing hammers it to left field. Sanders gets a late break, but able to still go back and get it. The ball not carrying very well. Lansing hit it hard, but Sanders able to make the grab.
That's what speed will do for you in left field. I think Klesko in the outfield on this play may have been a base hit or a ball off the wall and a double, but Sanders able to recover after breaking in and getting back and catching the baseball. I haven't mentioned yet, Dave, the umpires today with Hirschbeck behind the plate. It's a new look, so fans at home that are used to hearing a lot of National League names being said, you may hear some new names. And there will be American League umpires are crossing over in the leagues now. And Reynolds here today from the American League. The others, Charlie Williams, Mark Wigner out of the National League, and John Hirschbeck, the veteran behind the plate.
Walker, guess what? Another base hit. Walker is 2 for 2, picking up where he left off, winning that batting title the last 2 years. So Larry Walker, 3 straight 360-plus seasons. Al Simmons, the last to do that way back in the 30s. Rich Donnelly, of course, he's back as the third base coach for the Rockies. New first base coach is Dallas Williams. Other new members of that coaching staff include Toby Hara, Marcel Latchman, the new pitching coach, Fred Kendall out in the bullpen. Dave Garcia will be there for experience. 79-year-old Dave Garcia. We'll see him mostly at home. And, of course, Clint Hurdle back as the hitting coach.
Dallas Williams today in the dugout telling me he left 30 passes for this ballgame. 30 passes. He goes, yeah, 25 of them for family. And 4 of those asked to bring friends. So it ended up at 30 in the ballpark today, cheering for the first base coach in the Colorado Rockies.
Here's Cirillo. He looks at a ball up high. Jeffrey Cirillo from the Milwaukee Brewers. One of the key acquisitions for the Rockies in this offseason. You know, this is a guy that did not even play third base until his senior year in college. University of Southern California. He was originally a pitcher and a DH. Was not drafted after his junior year. So Cirillo, he goes to his coach and he says, look, I know I can play at the next level. I just need a chance. So would you let me play a position? I don't care what position it is. He said, well, let's try you out at third base. Well, he took to it like a duck to water.
Well, obviously not a lot of calling in the draft for a guy that's going to be strictly a DH. Unless you're over in the American League, obviously. But in college, you'd like to see a guy play a position with his strong arm. It was either into the outfield or at third base at the hot corner. And it gives you an indication, I think, at a young age for Cirillo, he made himself a third baseman.
No question about it. In his last 2 years, he's hit .326 and .321. And more importantly, at least from the Rockies' perspective, George, is the fact that his career on-base percentage is .384.
A great eye at the plate, and I think the other thing that intrigued the Rockies is all the balls that he hit into the gap in left field and right center, and right center, that those could turn into home runs. And I think that's where Dan O'Dowd came up with his formula of the 25 home runs. And you know, the 353 average and the 115 RBIs. And of course, Cirillo says, well, if I live up with that, I'll be pretty happy.
He says it's not Stratomatic, though, is it? He's our AutoZone player profile, acquired from Milwaukee. One of many trades by the Rockies. In fact, 6 of them during the offseason. Look at that all-time career average, 307. Better than Robin Young, better than Paul Molitor, better than so many of those Brewer sluggers. No pitch. Time had been called before the pitch, so it's still 2-1 to Cirillo.
Well, what's interesting about the time being called and given to Cirillo late was Maddux had released the baseball. I mean, he hadn't released it, but he was at the top of his windup, and it was a 2-1 slider. I guess that maybe Cirillo go back with his thought process now, so will Maddux come back to it after giving me a look at it? He doesn't. He goes with the fastball away.
With Maddux, you never know, do you?
There's no reason to try to figure him out either, because with Maddux, everybody says, well, everybody knows what he's going to do. He's going to work inside, outside, and he's going to go up and down. Yeah, but you don't know what pitch is coming either.
That ball just constantly moving in his hand. Back to Maddux, looking for 2. Weiss has got it, and there is a double play. That'll retire the Rockies in the 4th. So Maddux helps himself out with that gold glove, and now praying that it doesn't rain. Maddux is on, Astacio is on, and we're on Fox Sports Net. Well, there he is, Masato Yoshii, a pitcher for the Rockies, joining their 5-man rotation. Masato Yoshii will pitch in Florida. So it's good to have Masato along for the ride in the 2000 campaign. A revamped rotation. The only guys left over from last year, Brian Bohannon and Pedro Astacio, today's starter. Well, here's Chipper Jones to lead off for the Braves in the 4th. He'll be followed by Jordan and Galarraga. Jones, as you can see, always better in the second half throughout his career. Jones bothered by some bone chips in his right arm. They don't know what kind of problem that's going to present to Chipper as the season goes on. Bouncing ball, Helton's got it. He'll take it to the bag himself. 1 up, 1 down in the 4th. Well, there is concern, though, George, about Chipper Jones, and as an insurance policy, they picked up Bobby Bonilla.
Well, 2 pickups. I think the lower back of Galarraga is a concern also, and Wally Joyner here, a veteran that could step right in, and then Bobby Bo with a whole new attitude. Bonilla has come to this ball club excited to play the game and to prove all the geniuses, as they call them in baseball. You're wrong. I can still play the game.
For Bonilla, an insurance policy for Chipper. Wally, the insurance policy for the Cat. And they say here in Atlanta, Bobby Bonilla has been nothing but a gentleman. Here's Brian Jordan, a fly ball to Walker in the right field corner, his first time up. This time he hammers it to left center field. Hammonds and Goodwin going back, and it's Goodwin making the catch on the edge of the warning track. Well, there's some of that newfound speed in the outfield.
Covered a lot of ground, and he did it in a hurry, too. And it almost looks as if Goodwin has said, hey, Larry, Jeffrey, I got everything in the gaps and up the middle. You just take care of the lines, because he broke so fast on this ball. And Hammonds backs off of it. The good rotation that if he does miss that ball and it comes off of the wall, you see Hammonds directly behind him. He could play the Caroon off the wall and be able to get it back in. But great coverage by Goodwin and the catch all the way up against the wall. Boy, he and Hunter, can they cover some ground?
How about that? Well, already we've seen the range of Cirillo and now the range of Tom Goodwin. Swing and a miss by the catch. Strike 1 to Galarraga. Galarraga hit by a pitch his first time up. 2 base runners for the Braves. Jones walked in the first, and Galarraga hit by that pitch in the second.
Yeah, and what pitch did he open him up with? A slow breaking ball away, and see Galarraga flinch a little bit. The inside pitch has its purpose, and even if it carries over to late in the ball game.
No secret in trying to get Galarraga high and tight, low and away.
Well, you have to come in because you don't want to let him get in a pattern of extending his arms. That's where he generates so much speed in the bat and hit the ball out of the ballpark. So that's why you're coming in hard. And the active hit by pitch, look at this. Biggio, 153. Then Galarraga with 137. That's the active career leaders.
Yeah, don't forget about Don Baylor. He had said earlier that Galarraga, the leading hit by a pitch active player, but Biggio obviously passed him last year. I'm going to update my notes here, but Galarraga hit by a pitch plenty anyway. And they're all, I don't think they're chasing Don Baylor, but at least they have him in their sights. Caught looking Galarraga. So Estacio strikes out the cat. 2 strikeouts for Estacio, and then helped by his defense as Tom Goodwin races into the gap to snare this fly ball off the bat of Brian Jordan.
All smiles in that dugout after the catch by Goodwin in center field. And hey, fans, don't forget to pick up your Rockies magazine this year, this first issue in April with new GM Dan O'Dowd, manager Buddy Bell, get to know Jeff Cirillo, and pitcher Mike Myers. Learn about Nafi Perez in our At Home with the Rockies section. To receive your personal copy of the Rockies magazine each month, subscribe today by calling 303 Rockies or visit our online at coloradorockies.com.
All right, here's Todd Helton to lead things off in the 5th inning. Helton had a hit taken away by Andrew Jones his first time up. This time he busts his bat and dribbles one in front of Jordan in right. So Helton leads off with a single in the 5th, the 3rd hit for the Rockies, 2 of them by Walker.
One hitter in the Rockies lineup that has given trouble to Maddux through his career has been Todd Helton. Helton hitting .462 coming into the ball game against Maddux, uses his strength to fight off the fastball in the inside half and still get it into the outfield for a base hit.
Helton, who really finished spring strong, hitting .378 in the spring. Now Hammonds thought about going, did not, takes a strike. Hammond struck out looking his first time up.
And this is where Maddux usually is at his best. When a runner does get on to start out the inning, you'll see a lot of good sinking fastballs away from the hitter to try to induce the double play.
Well, Maddux and the Braves a little bit leery about Buddy Bell, and looking at his philosophy from the spring, Bell would like to run with this team as much as possible. Not just straight steals, but hit and run and moving runners, putting pressure on the defense. Hammond's a guy who was a star at Stanford. 3 years he hit .353, 27 homers, 151 ribbies, 102 stolen bases. He was a guy who could do it all, originally with Baltimore. And as George said earlier, he's not really played a full season. Injuries and such have limited him. In fact, most games he's ever played in, 123 last year with Cincinnati, and a lot of those games he did not start.
A lot of times he would go into left field for Vaughn as a defensive replacement late in the ball game and play the 8th and 9th when the Reds had a lead.
He only had 262 at bats last year and still hit 17 home runs. So if you double those numbers, a little more than 500 ABs, which you would have in a normal season, that's 34 homers. The bunt by Hammonds. Veras late and getting to the bag, but he got there just in time. Boy, Veras almost with a mental miscue as Helton goes down to second. Hammonds on the bunt. He gets it down the sacrifice, and Helton in scoring position.
I'll promise you, Maddux will tell him from now on, you get to the bag because I'm going to get to the ball, and you better be there in time to make the plays. And Veras that time was slow getting over to first base, and you've got Hammonds with good speed going up the line, and that was a close play. Tough call for Charlie Williams right out of the chute.
That was a close play. It goes as a sacrifice for Hammonds, and now a chance for Perez to get him home. Ground ball to Veras. He'll get Perez. Helton moving over to third. He's there, though, with 2 out. Well, Perez goes after that first pitch. Veras probably already talking to himself a little bit about getting to the bag late.
Well, with Maddux on the mound, you respect what a guy has done as a pitcher. Now, as Maddux' thought process, what's he do now with first base open, 2 outs, and you've got Pedro Estacio and the 9-hole hitter and the pitcher on deck? Do you go and pitch to him or pitch around him? And I think that's where, right now, you've got a conversation out on the mound with Bobby Cox, talking with Maddux, saying, do you want to go with Maine or do you want to go with Estacio? And there's 2 sides to every one of these coins to look at it and say, well, you'd like to have the pitcher start off the next inning, have the automatic out, but the way this ball game's going right now, there's not going to be a lot of runs scored.
Better save that run, huh? Well, fresh off yesterday's thrilling 3-2 overtime win over Dallas, the Avs head to Edmonton, a chance to clinch the Northwest Division. Watch the Avs and Oilers Wednesday at 6:30 Mountain right here on Fox Sports Net.
Well, that decision wasn't very hard. Maine 3 for 6 lifetime against Maddux, hitting .500, and Bobby Cox says, we'll just put him on base and let you face Estacio.
So a free pass to Brent Maine. And that'll put runners at the corners for Estacio. See if Pedro can help his own cause. Rockies in their 8th opener. They are 4-3 on opening day, and they've won their last 2. So Maine trots down to first, and here's Pedro Estacio.
Early in his career, Estacio was almost a given out, a 141 career lifetime hitter. But how about a 99? He hit .233, had 7 RBIs. Only struck out 24 times and almost 100 at bats.
A runner at third, all it'll take is some kind of a base hit. Foul ball out of play.
I tell you, Pete's fun to watch, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, even at the plate.
Had a pretty good hack at that one and started dancing around saying, give that one back to me. I'd like to have it one more time.
Maddux extending that strike zone. 2 strikes on Estacio. Ooh, just missed. 1-2. Best scoring chance for the Rockies. Well, for either team, for that matter. Not a play. Still 1-2 as Estacio stays alive. Estacio enough of a bad ball hitter that he just might get enough wood on it to squib it over the infield.
Well, the outfield's really moved around now. Jordan hugging the right field line. Jones has moved over into right center field and trying to cover it up, but it's not going to matter.
It won't matter as Maddux strikes out Estacio. Strikeout number 5 for Greg Maddux. Halfway through from Turner Field in a scoreless battle. Estacio matching Maddux pitch for pitch, inning for inning so far as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. But first, this day in history brought to you by Jeep. And on this day back in 1984, 1984, Philadelphia Steve Carlton shut out these Braves here in Atlanta 5-0. Now the Braves have been in Atlanta since 1966. You know who was their leadoff batter in 1966 when they first came to Atlanta? Might surprise you. Felipe Alou, the manager of the Expos. Here's Andrew Jones leading off for the Braves in the 5th. He'll be followed by Perez and Weiss. Jones hit into a fielder's choice his first time up, 0 for 1.
Pretty simple right now why Estacio is pitching so well in this ball game. Just 52 pitches so far in the game for Estacio. He's yet to fall behind a hitter 2-0 or 3-1. So Estacio's worked ahead. Made the pitch when he's had to. Had a nice play in the outfield the end inning, or to get it out in the inning previous. Goodwin caught the ball up against the wall.
Spotting his fastball well, and the breaking ball is really moving.
Well, he established that fastball early.
Yes.
You know, coming hard in on Galarraga, I think sent a message to the whole dugout.
Another good breaking ball. That's what I mean by moving it around. puts down the sign for the curveball. There it is, and he got Jones to wave at it. So Estacio with his second straight strikeout, now 3 in the game.
Now look at the curveball. The first one on the inside half of the plate. It locks him up. So he turns his back. He thinks it looks like a fastball. Then Estacio with great placement of this breaking ball down and out of the strike zone. That's the aspect of the ball game with Jones that they're trying to get him to lay off of those pitches. But the first curveball set up the second for the strikeout.
Maybe one of the biggest changes is you just saw another dandy of a curveball from Estacio to Perez. One of the biggest changes is Merv Redmond taking over for Don Baylor's hitting coach.
Now that's the third hitting coach in 3 years for the Braves too. But Redmond moving back here from San Diego. And a very good, well thought of.
Line drive by Perez. He continues to batter Rocky pitchers. Perez always seems to hit well against the Rockies, and he does it here, and that's the first hit of the game for the Braves.
Mayfield reaches high to try to get this ball, but it's a fastball, but the location up in the strike zone, just out of the reach of Mayfield Perez and out into the outfield. Perez on his career against Estacio, 3 for 5 coming into this ball game.
Here's Walt Weiss. How will the Braves play it now? Remember, Maddux comes up after Weiss. Foul ball out of play. Walt hit a ground ball to Mike Lansing his first time up.
Weiss handles the bat so well, David. He may be a guy they try to hit and run with, get the runner moving to open up some holes up inside of the Rockies defense up the middle, and let Weiss try to handle the ball and move it back up the middle and advance the runners to first and third with Maddux on deck.
Remember, I told you about Perez hitting the Rockies so well. He has a .500 career batting average at Coors Field. And Perez not known for his hitting, folks. But there he stands at first base, the first hit off Estacio. Eddie Perez, in his career, 17 for 34 with 3 homers at Coors Field. He is a career .259 hitter. And has hit just 24 home runs in his career, 3 of them at Coors Field. The 0-2 pitch, a curveball, caught him looking. Oh, man, is he on. Estacio with his 4th strikeout of the game.
That's what you call making the pitch when you have to make the pitch on a 0-2 count. He brings the curveball from the outside and drops it right in the middle of the plate. Now, you can't let all that hard work slip away here and hang a pitch to Maddux and get to the top of that lineup. You got to finish your business.
Much like Maddux finished his business with Estacio at the plate and runners at the corners in the top of this inning. Strike 1 to Maddux. Maddux hit a weak grounder to Cirillo his first time up. This one off the end of the bat foul. 2 strikes on Maddux. Well, the Braves have jumped out of the chute in a hurry. Each of the last 6 years, they've had winning months of April. The Braves, though, don't expect this to be a cakewalk. They expect to get a lot of competition from the New York Mets this year. And some question marks with Smoltz's injury. Some question marks at the bottom end of their rotation. And as far as their bullpen is concerned, especially the first few weeks of the season, question marks there as well. The Mets, by the way, won today 2-1. That bullpen right now without Cianez, and of course you know about Rocker. He's also missing for the first 2 weeks. That'll make Mazzoni rock even more this year. Did he go around? He did not go around. And going down to second, Perez.
Perez not with a lot of speed, but he sees the ball get away from Maine behind the plate. To head down, a quick slide into second base. No throw. The ball got so far up to third baseline, there wasn't going to be a play at second base. I like the quickness of Maine behind the plate as he bounced out on the ball in a hurry.
Now Estacio really needs to bear down with that runner in scoring position. Foul ball out of play by Maddux. They ruled that a wild pitch. Perez was thinking, oh man, why couldn't I have had the stolen base? Perez hoping and praying that that official score would give him an SB. fastball upstairs. Now full count to Maddux.
First three ball count for Estacio on the day.
Marcel Latchman looking on. Chopper off the plate. Tough play for Cirillo. Bare hands, throws to first in time. Wow, what a play by Cirillo. Cirillo with the bare hand and a high chopper off the plate to take a hit away from Greg Maddux. We'll watch it again going to break. 5 in the book, still scoreless from Turner Field.
Well, Estacio trying to make the play. The ball bounces over his head. Cirillo out of nowhere bare hands the baseball. The perfect throw over to first base. Great play by Cirillo to end the inning. There, that runner on second base, the excitement. High fives for Cirillo. The runner at second base, he's moving on the play. And look at it again, how tough a play this really was. And one advantage the Rockies did have was Maddux was at the plate, so not great speed up the base paths. Able to make the thing.
Boy, a couple of good defensive plays by Cirillo today. Another one by the guy who will lead off for the Rockies in the 6th inning, Tom Goodwin.
And what the Rockies would like to see is a little more patience at the plate by Goodwin as the leadoff hitter and try to work the count deep.
I'd love to see Goodwin get on if you're a Rockies fan, and I'm sure most of you watching are. But he goes after that first pitch and taps one down to Veras. Flying down the line, still out by a step though. 1 up, 1 down. Goodwin took a couple of pitches his first time up, but he might be thinking, well, with Maddux, he's not going to walk me anyway.
Try to get a pitch you can handle and bust it. His last at bat, he hit a large line drive out into left field to Sanders, as did Mike Lansing. The ball almost got over the head of Sanders for a base hit.
Lansing, first pitch swinging, and Maddux. You wonder why he's won all those gold gloves? You might just have seen an example why.
But Ole Miss the start of 2000 baseball season at Coors Field. The Rockies open up against Ken Griffey Jr. Don't forget Mark McGuire's on his way also with the Cardinals coming into town. Tickets are still available for opening day and through the month of April. Call the Rockies at 1-800-388-ROCK or go online with the ColoradoRockies.com.
What an opening homestand.
How about that, huh?
Man, you got Junior and Bichette coming in for 3 games with the Reds, and then Mark McGuire on their heels. How about that Central Division this year? The power in the Central. Bagwell's the forgotten guy. You got Sosa, and you've got Sosa, and of course Junior and
Lou coming back with the Astros. Had a great year before he hurt the knee.
Yeah, boy, a lot of power in that Central. 2 strikes quickly on Larry Walker. Walker has 2 of the 3 Rocky hits today, both singles. And Walker caught looking. So Maddux makes quick work of the Rockies, getting them 1, 2, 3. Maddux helping his own cause, little leather. We go to the bottom of the 6th, still scoreless from Atlanta. Colorado Rockies baseball on Fox Sportsnet Rocky Mountain, brought to you by your Denver Front Range Jeep dealers. By AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. And by Geico Direct, the sensible alternative. He's George Frazier. I'm Dave Armstrong, watching a dandy to open the 2000 campaign. A scoreless duel between the Braves and the Rockies. And we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Veras, the leadoff man for the Braves. He'll be followed by Sanders and Chipper Jones. Strike 1. Veras falls behind 0-1. Veras 0 for 2 so far in a Braves uniform. The Braves last year won 56 times here at Turner Field. That was the best home mark in the majors. 56 and 25 at home. They won the East by 6.5. Just missed outside. 2-1 now to Veras.
You win the pennant on the road too. If you can win when you're on the road, you've chanced yourself, because you should win at home. You should win a lot of ball games. That wasn't the case for the Rockies last year. 39 and 42 at home. The Braves on the road, 47 and 34.
The Braves beating Houston 3-1 in the first round of the playoffs, then the Mets, and then lost to the Yankees in the World Series. And that one just missed. A little bit low. Full count and out of Veras. Down the line, slicing foul, and it will be out of play up into the seats. Veras pretty much straight up for Brett Boone. Kind of was a Veras-Sanders for Klesko-Boone deal between the two clubs.
Well, both clubs felt like they could better themselves, and a change of scenery would do both of the individuals a lot of good to change uniform.
Out that one off the pitching hand of Astacio. Cirillo will have no play. Now you check on Astacio. He knocked that down with his pitching hand. Veras aboard. I'm sure it'll be an infield single.
I don't think you can get Pete out of this ball game right now, no matter what. Maine out to talk to him. Perez visiting with him, but you see rubbing the ball up. Tom Probst, the trainer for the Rockies, up on the front step of the dugout just to check on Astacio to see if he brings him out. You can see the ball hits hard, right off the palm of the hand. Well, it really affects the pitcher, Dave, if you catch it off the end of those fingers.
Yes.
Because the feel that you have to have for the breaking ball, the slider, and all your pitches is at the end of those fingertips. When those get hit, the stinging hat makes it tough to get a feel back in there because they go numb.
So off the palm, not so bad.
Not
it's the
so bad.
part of the hand, yeah.
Still not fun. It's not what you want to do every day, but
no.
a little less painful.
Well, here's Sanders now. He's 0 for 2. He lays down the bunt. Astacio looks at second, throws there, and gets him. So Astacio goes after Veras at second, and that's a little bit of a surprise. Veras, he might not have expected that at all. The bunt a little bit hard from Sanders, and the Rockies taking a chance, gun down Veras.
Just another part of Astacio's game that he's improved on in the fielding aspect. He wheels at an awkward off-balance throw. It's almost he threw across his body, but a perfect throw down to Nafi Perez at second base. Wisely, Nafi ate the baseball versus trying to throw it to first base.
So now Chipper Jones with a runner at first. Remember, Sanders 36 stolen bases last year. Jones looking down at Ned Yost, their third base coach, to see if anything's doing. Curveball for a strike. 2 quick strikes on Chipper Jones.
Well, that's hard, too, for a catcher. Maine had to stay down on that pitch to keep it in the strike zone, but yet plant himself and make the rotation because it looked like Sanders was going to second base, and he had to make that foot rotation to get in a position to throw it.
Chipper Jones last year 87 extra base hits. That erased Hank Aaron's Braves record of 79 extra base hits in a year. Little tapper. He was badly fooled, but able to get a bat on it and waste it. Well, hardcore baseball for those of you hardcore baseball fans out there, hosted by Steve Lyons and Kevin Kennedy. Get an insider's look at the game of baseball tomorrow, 9:30 Mountain, right here on Fox Sports Net. Did he go? He did not. Boy, Rockies really thought Jones went around. Astasio knocked it down. Lansing gets it to Perez, and boy, he guns down Chipper Jones by a mile. So again, good defense by the Rockies. First from Astasio on the bunt play, and then the double play to end things. 6 now in the books from Turner Field. Still scoreless from Atlanta. Boy, a real pitcher's duel. Larry Walker with 2 of the game's 5 hits so far. Scoreless as we head to the 7th. Now coming off a big win yesterday, a 3-2 overtime win, a shorthanded goal to win that game over Dallas. The Avs head to Edmonton, a chance to clinch the Northwest Division. Avs Oilers, Wednesday, 6:30 Mountain, right here on Fox Sports Net. Now Jeff Cirillo, a couple of nice defensive plays, now trying to help with the bat. He's 0 for 2. Hit into that double play to end the 4th, his last time up. Strike 1 from Maddux.
You start wondering, at the first start of the year, how far do you let the starting pitchers go into a ball game with the score not at 0-0, and are they ready to go out and throw 100 pitches? Well, Maddux entering this inning only had thrown 64, so he's up to 66 now, and he's working into the 7th inning. Astasio right at about 70 through 6. Not a lot of pitches, excuse me. Astasio with 80.
That's still not very many.
That's not very many pitches at all. So both of these pitchers, I'm sure, with the adrenaline on opening day, they'll work it into a pinch hit type situation late in the ballgame.
Is it just pitch count? It's also pitch under pressure count, too, isn't
Well, I think so. And I think there you allow both of these guys, they're your aces. Maddux has been doing this a long time, so is Astasio. So you allow them to tell you.
Cirillo with a fly ball to right field. Jordan's got it. Going up 1 down in the 7th. Cirillo 0 for 3 so far. Now Todd Helton. He has 1 of the 3 Rocky hits. A single his last time up. Maddux just being Maddux today. No surprise there. Helton rips it, and Galarraga reaches up to grab it. Helton really has had 2 hits taken away from him today. That one by Galarraga, the diving grab by Andrew Jones back in the 2nd.
We talked about it earlier with Helton swinging the bat so well against Maddux. 462 coming into the ball game, and you're right, Dave. He's had 3 very good cuts at Maddux today. But I think on the pitches that Maddux has thrown him, they've been get-ahead fastballs, meaning I'm going to throw a fastball to get ahead of him, then we're going to work the counts away from him.
That is get ahead. 15 now, 16 of 24 first pitch strikes. And Jeffrey Hammond's the batter. Hammond's 0 for 1, a sac bunt his last time up. This one off of Maddox's shoe, a kick save. Hammond's looking to go for 2. Here comes the throw from Sanders, wild, and Hammond's hustles into second base.
Now that's that speed and pressure that you apply to the defense when the ball hit off of the foot. Hammond's never slowed down, and you can attribute a lot to Dallas Williams, the first base coach, for advancing and said, take advantage of it, see if you could get into scoring position with 2 outs. And they do. He ends up with a double, a 2-out double here in the 7th inning against Maddux. Now Neifi Perez, who's swung the bat fairly well, I thought, against Maddux. Other than the first at bat, he went for a 3-2 breaking ball.
Well, Perez 0 for 2, a chance for the Rockies to take the lead. Perez just back from the Dominican. They're celebrating the birth of his first child, a son, named, I shouldn't say nickname, named Neifi Jr. Maybe nicknamed Junior. Scoring opportunities have been few in this game. Ground ball to the right side. Galarraga has it go under his glove. Hammonds thought about going and then put on the brakes at third. Perez safe at first base. We'll see how they score it. It will be an infield hit for Neifi Perez.
Galarraga, normally a very good fielding first baseman, and I don't think you would have seen him range that far to his right unless Maddux is on the mound, because he knows Maddux is going to be covering first base. Hammond's jogging into third base, and the whole time Rich Donnelly's waving him on because the play was in front of Donnelly, not in front of Hammond.
Well, now another decision for Bobby Cox. Donnelly was looking, Hammonds was looking back. Donnelly was actually trying to wave Hammonds home. Hammonds picked up the sign just a little bit late. And now Cox, do you walk Maine again and bring up Estacio?
Well, in this type of a ball game, as a third base coach, you know there's not going to be a lot of runs scored. So if you get a little bit of room in that window, you've got to take it. And that's what Donnelly was trying to do.
They're going to walk Maine again. First base is not open, but there is a bag open at second. So they're going to walk Maine to load him up. Maine walked for the second straight time intentionally. Now you think back, too, to that play that Galarraga made on Helton, the line drive. Without that, the Rockies would definitely have the lead.
Right now they would be. It'd be a 1-0 ball game, and nobody warming up at all down in the Rockies bullpen. This is Estacio's ball game, and he'll get a chance to hit with 2 outs.
Ball 4 to Maine, so that will load him up. Well, think your sports knowledge is second to none. Check out Sports Geniuses, the new nightly game show that'll challenge the most knowledgeable sports fans. Sports Geniuses, weeknights 6 and 11 on Fox Sports Net. So with them loaded and 2 out, here's Estacio. Hits one down the line. Galarraga spears it, and he'll step on the bag. That saved 2, maybe 3 right there. Yeah, quick Galarraga. 2 great defensive plays, and this one remains scoreless. Now for a look at what's ahead on Fox Sports News tonight at 10. Let's go to the Fox Network Center.
This Fox Sports News Sports Break is brought to you by K-Swiss.
Hi, along with Steve Lyons, I'm Chris Myers of Fox Sports News with this sports break. A fight between Kobe Bryant and Chris Childs detracted from Shaq's dominant performance. He scores 34. The Lakers rip the Knicks.
The UConn Huskies proved to be too much for Pat Summitt's Lady Vols, winning the NCAA championship 71-52. News, scores, and highlights nightly on Fox Sports News.
Right here on Fox Sports Net.
This ball game's knotted up 0-0. Some great defense and pitching. You look at a play by Jones, then by Maddux, the double play over to Weiss. That ended an inning and a threat. Then back again, Cirillo from his knees, the throw for the double play. Then Goodwin in center field with the long catch. Estacio cutting down Veras at second base. Great plays have been made. Cirillo with another bare hand throw. And then the end of the last inning, Galarraga with a diving catch with the bases loaded.
That took a hit away, at least a single, probably a double from Estacio. Watch this, with the bases loaded nonetheless.
First pitch from Maddux, a fastball trying to work it away, and Estacio lines it down the line. A big cat. Dives, makes the catch, and retires Estacio to keep this ball game 0-0.
Well, here's Brian Jordan now to lead things off after the stretch here at Turner Field. Jordan 0 for 2 so far. Fastball popped up, shallow center field. Out goes Lansing, in comes Goodwin, and he's got it. 1 pitch, 1 away in the 7th.
If you have a group and you'd like to come to Coors Field for an exciting day of baseball, each one of your groups of 25 or more receives seating together, a scoreboard message, group poster, and a complimentary ticket to a future ball game for a group leader. Ask about our special group and senior group discount rates. Call the Rockies today at 303-ROCKIES for more information on group sales. That's a great deal, too, because they can put you all together. You can cheer for the Rockies.
Absolutely. Come on out to Coors Field this summer. Galarraga, high fly ball left field. Hammond's going back. Looking up. Gone. Galarraga. Atlanta says, welcome back, Cat. What a heartwarming moment in Atlanta. Hollywood scriptwriters busy writing today's tale. Two great defensive plays in the top of the inning and that home run to give the Braves the lead. And now Andrew Jones. That's gone. Back-to-back, Galarraga and Jones.
Right now, Marcel Latchman coming to the mound to try to calm down Estacio. He's led the National League in home runs given up the last 2 years with 77. But of those 77, 45 of those have been solo home runs. And they come back here with a couple of them. It's right down where he likes it. Drop the head of the bat, middle half of the plate, down in the strike zone, and then Jones gets the fastball up in the strike zone. There, Estacio struck him out with breaking balls, and his last at bat comes back with a fastball and ends up giving up the home run.
Now Eddie Perez with a pop foul, room for help, and he makes the grab. Well, that electrified the crowd, didn't it? They were kind of sitting on their hands here in Atlanta, or maybe on their umbrellas, who knows. But then the defensive plays by Galarraga, and then the home runs by Galarraga and Andrew Jones. And it's 2-0 Braves.
For Estacio, just 4 hits in the ballgame.
Unbelievable.
2 of those hit long balls, and the Rockies trail at 2-0.
Weiss now with a base hit the opposite way. Buddy Bell almost bewildered by what he has seen, and he has Belinda up and throwing for the Rockies. And Belinda, another newcomer in that Rockies bullpen. He came over in the Bichette to Cincinnati deal with Jeff Hamrick. And there they are, the heroes of today, along with Maddux for the Braves, Galarraga and Andrew Jones. Both have made great defensive plays, and now both with home runs. Little tapper by Maddux, foul ball.
Well, if there's one area of question mark for the Braves, it's their bullpen. They're able to get into it and get into it early. I know Maddux, as he came to the plate, was looking over the shoulder into the dugout. Rimlinger was warming up down in the bullpen. Last year, there was a lot of ball games that Maddux would leave after the 7th and 8th inning with a lead, 3-1, 3-2 ball game. Looks as if he'll go out and start the 8th.
And Maddux just 4 complete games last year.
And only 78 pitches so far in this ball game.
But again, it's the first start of the year, and guys don't have as much arm strength as they will in a few weeks.
No, and the other thing that I was talking about earlier, leaving ball games after the 7th, there was 4 starts last year where he only had a pitch count of 80s. And this was in July and August that he came out of the ball game with a 2- and 1-run lead.
I can remember a game that I broadcast, a Royals home opener. Kevin Apier, who didn't pitch that much in the spring that year, started off with 7 shutout, no-hit innings, and had to be taken from the game because he had reached a pitch total. 2-2 pitch is low. 3-2, not a Maddux. Weiss will be running from first with 2 out. Jammed him. Helton backs up to get the hop, and that'll do it. But the Braves get 2 in the 7th. Home runs by Messrs. Galarraga and Jones, and the Braves lead 2-0 going to the 8th inning. the guys that have done the damage offensively, and you could say defensively for the Braves. Home runs by Galarraga and Andrew Jones. They go back-to-back, and it's 2-0 now. Rockies batting in the 8th inning, trailing by 2, even though they've out-hit, or actually tied in the number of hits with the Braves at 5 apiece. So Tom Goodwin now 0 for 3. Rockies really would like to get some base runners here. Little tapper up the middle. Veras. He'll get Goodwin, and Goodwin 0 for 4 today against Maddux. Now Mike Lansing 0 for 3. Ward's Auto Express, your home for exceptional values on the top brands and tires, also provides top quality auto service. Go to www.wards.com for the location nearest you. Lansing with a one-hopper. Weiss got it. Boy, is he steady. Still steady, Walt Weiss.
You know, Dave, you look back in that inning with the bases loaded and Estacio up with 2 outs, and it's a tough decision for Buddy Bells. Do you pinch hit? He's only at 80 pitches. Do you pinch hit him with the bases loaded and 2 outs and bring a guy off the bench that hasn't looked at Maddux even though you've got a pitcher up? Or do you allow Estacio to go ahead? Well, you're in a pitcher's duel. I think you owe it to Estacio to let him continue to pitch and hit in that situation.
I agree with you. And now Cox going out for Maddux. He's going to go to his bullpen with Walker due up, and Walker has 2 hits. So Maddux leaves, pitching 7 2/3 shutout innings. And a guy who is a perennial ERA champ in baseball has a 0.00 after today's effort. Well, here's Mike Remlinger now pitching, and he'll face Larry Walker on the Dodge pitching change.
Good fastball. He'll keep the ball down and out of the strike zone. Slider, you see the wins and losses, 29 and 32, but a little bit deceiving. He was 10-1 for the Braves last year. Hits per innings lower, the walks in good shape, and the strikeouts with 448. Walker lifetime hitting 417 against Remlinger.
Walker 2 for 3 today. Walker real iffy going into play today. Wasn't sure he'd even be able to go. Did not practice yesterday. He's been basically in the trainer's room the last several days getting his calves worked on. In the dirt from Remlinger, ball 1. Well, you see the new unis for the Rockies this year. New road uniforms. I like him. Looks sharp. Walker into center field. Jones, he's got it. And that'll do it. Andrew Jones makes the play in center. Rockies go in order. Again, defense with a capital D in Atlanta today. 2-0 as we go to the bottom of the 8th. Colorado Rockies baseball on Fox Sports Net. Rocky Mountain is brought to you by your local Napa Auto Parts store. We keep America running. Napa. By Original Coors. There's only one mile-high taste. And by Checker Auto Parts. The place to start for parts. So Andrew Jones, 2 diving catches, a home run. What more can this kid do? Estacio still out there. I think Andrew Jones a big boost of confidence. You remember in the offseason when Ken Griffey Jr. was kind of parading himself around and then finally saying he wanted to play in Cincinnati. But before that, the Braves were interested briefly. But then the Braves said to Andrew Jones, look, we're not going to trade you straight up for Ken Griffey Jr. We think you have more value to us than Jr. Well, if you're Andrew Jones, you got to be thrilled with that. Estacio strikes out Veras to start the Braves' 8th inning.
shows a lot of confidence from the organization, and then Jones has shown it back for them with the defensive plays and then a home run today. Estacio able to handle the top third of this Braves lineup today. They're just 1 for 8, now 1 for 9.
And that one hit, the single by Veras, that was erased by a double play. Here's Reggie Sanders. The Rockies have a new look. Rockies Dugout Store, the best location to get your brand. New authentic collection jersey and jacket. Top it off with the new alternate caps worn by your favorite Rocky players. 6 locations to serve you. Another good breaking ball from Estacio.
Now, we talked about this earlier. A key for Estacio and what he's been able to do the last year and the start of this ball game. He can have a bad inning as he did before with 2 bad pitches to Galarraga and to Jones, and then come right back and perform like this in the 8th inning when his pitch count up in the mid-90s. Starts it out with a strikeout, and here he is ahead in the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes on Sanders.
Sanders 0 for 3. You know, talking to Dan O'Dowd on the bus ride over to Turner Field today, I asked him if he had some butterflies in his tummy. He said, well, I'm more nervous that they just play well. Perez got a glove on it, but no more. Sanders takes a big turn. He'll stop at first with the single. And I think Dan O'Dowd's got to be very happy with the way the Rockies have played this game. Defensively, yeah, Estacio gave up the 2 solo home runs, but the Rockies defensively today have done the job, and Buddy Bell is going to make a pitching change.
Well, all you can ask for out of your starting pitchers, give me the chance to win a ball game, and Estacio has done that. Estacio looking at Buddy saying, hey, we need to talk about this for a second before you make that quick switch. Estacio, that was his 100th pitch in the ball game.
So Estacio goes out disappointed by giving up the lead on the home runs to Galarraga and Jones, but still a very good debut nonetheless. Well, Estacio cannot get the win today. Rockies can, but Estacio cannot. But boy, what an effort he turned in, giving up just the 2 home runs and only 6 hits to the Braves here today. What's on tap? Well, coming up, we'll be back on Fox Sports Net tomorrow night right here from Atlanta when Rolando Araujo will battle Tom Glavine. That's tomorrow night. Then on Denver's WB2 Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, as we head to Pro Player Stadium to take on the Marlins of Florida. Mike Myers, a lone lefty out there in the bullpen for the Rockies. He takes over and turns Chipper Jones from a left-handed hitter to a one from the right side.
Jones doesn't hit very well from the right side. You look at Myers' numbers from last year, 9 saves, 6 and 12 with a .479. A left-handed specialist, 71 ball games last year, just 41 and a third innings pitched. Struck out 35 and walked 13.
Strike one to Chipper Jones. Well, Don Baylor really helped Chipper out last year. Up until last year, he had only 1 home run in every 56 and a half at bats from the right side. Last year, he had 1 home run every 9 and a half at bats from the right side. He hit 15 of them. Base hit. Jones rifles one into left field. Sanders will go station to station. And the Braves have 2 on with 1 out here in the 8th. And Buddy Bell, I think, is going to go get Mike Myers. So Jones with the single. The reason for the move by Buddy Bell was to turn Chipper Jones around to the right side. He accomplished that, but now he'll go back to his bullpen with some more right-handed batters up in Jordan, Galarraga, and Jones. There goes Myers. In comes Belinda. Brian Jordan getting set to hit with 2 on, 1 out in the 8th inning. Now coming up, the last word. Jim Rome tells it like it is on the nightline of sports talk shows. Weeknights, 6:30 and 11:30 on Fox Sports Net. Last word with Jim Rome. Stan Belinda hopes he's the last word for the Rockies today. Belinda again acquired in that trade along with Jeffrey Hammonds for Dante Bichette.
The veteran right-handed reliever add a lot of confidence into the Rockies bullpen, throws a lot of strikes. You can see only 263 walks and 638 plus innings.
Come at you from the side. Looking back at Reggie Sanders standing at second. Chipper Jones is on at first. Jordan, as you see, has put the ball in the air 3 times. Nothing to show for it. Boy, he got in front of that pitch and ripped it foul. Well, if there has been an Achilles heel so far this spring for the Rockies, it has certainly been a bullpen. A bullpen that has given up many, many runs.
Well, I think Buddy Bell, Marcel Latchman, Dan O'Dowd, they all tried everybody at different roles, knowing that Belinda, with a guaranteed contract and a veteran, that a lot of times when the opening day starts, hits, the light switch comes on and you pick up a few extra miles, a little bit better control.
Not falling out of play. Sitting down in that bullpen, Jerry Dipoto. No, he is not active for this game. Dipoto rehabbing with the team. The good news is that they expect Jerry Dipoto to be back for the home opener next Monday. Paid crowd of 42,257 on hand today. Not a sellout. Not a sellout. In fact, about 8,000 shy of that here. Bouncing ball, Cirillo. Could be 2. There's 1. Throw was high from Lansing, and it pulled Helton off the bag. Sanders moves to third. Jordan at first. And Andres Galarraga. Well, what more can the Cat do today? What more damage to the Rockies, his former ball club? 2 great plays defensively, both in 1 inning. A microcosm for the Cat today. That 7th inning, 2 great defensive plays and a home run.
Galarraga has not had much success at all against Belinda. 4 for 23 lifetime, a 174 average.
Well, I can't imagine, George, that Galarraga feels all that comfortable against Belinda because of the way he dives into pitches.
Well, you've got a guy that drops down, so what you've got to believe in yourself that he's going to keep the ball in that outside half of the plate and stay in there as long as you can, because you're going to dive with that open stance. When he runs it in hard on your hands, it's when you get in trouble.
Jordan goes down to second uncontested. That will be a stolen base for Jordan, even though the Rockies did not cover. Good pitch from Belinda. Something off speed, and it's 1-2 now to Galarraga.
82 miles an hour with the slider. His fastball tops out at 88, 89 miles an hour. Earlier in his career, Belinda was a guy that could get it at 94, 95 miles an hour.
Fastball caught him looking. So Belinda comes in to put out any further fire by the Braves. The Braves strand them at second and third. And Rockies with their last chance going to the ninth. Cirillo leading off. He'll be followed by Helton and Hammonds. Now Jeff Cirillo will lead things off for the Rockies in the ninth, trailing 2-0. Time for our Geico Direct moment. This was Maddux's comments to Greg to Andres Galarraga, saying after he watched him in BP in the spring, man, you ain't sick. Well, he's made the Rockies sick today with a couple of defensive plays and that solo home run, which right now is the difference in the ball game. This would normally be Rocker time for the Braves, but as you know, John Rocker suspended by baseball originally for 1 month in all of spring training. That suspension reduced to 2 weeks, and he was able to pitch in spring training. Rocker will miss 12 games this season for the offensive remarks he made to Sports Illustrated during the offseason. 1 ball, 1 strike to Cirillo. Gary Leitenberg is taking over the closer duties, but not out there now. They're saying that Leitenberg, coming off the elbow surgery, not able to pitch consecutive days. So they're letting Remlinger stay out there against Cirillo.
Well, Remlinger last year with 3 saves. That was the first 3 in his career. He's never gotten a save at the major league level till last year with the Atlanta Braves. And he only had 1 save there last year. Excuse me, 1 save last year, 2 previous to that.
Two balls, 2 strikes now to Cirillo. I'm sure that Remlinger, George, is staying in because of the guy in the on-deck circle, Todd Helton. Cirillo cannot beat you. Helton can. At least tie the game. Swing and a miss by Cirillo. Well, coming up on Fox Sports News tonight at 10 o'clock here on Fox Sports Net. Of course, they'll get you updated on all the scores today from baseball's opening day. And what a great day for sports fans. The NCAA title game tonight. They'll have highlights of that. Dale Carter's suspended. I'll tell you all about that. Todd Helton. Well, he's had 1 hit today and 2 hits taken away.
Both he and Walker have swung about very well in this ball game. You wonder, too, how much power maybe Walker could generate with his calf problem and hit the ball hard, but it's a different type of swing when you're trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark.
Walker today 2 for 4. Fastball from Remlinger is over for a strike, and it's 0-2. Well, the Rockies tomorrow night. Orlando Arrojo over from Tampa Bay. He'll start for Colorado. Tom Glavine, the veteran lefty, will go for the Braves. Bouncing ball up the middle. Vera stumbles a bit. He's got it, though, to throw out Helton, and 2 gone. The Rockies down to their final swing now. All in all, though, George, I'd have to say encouraging. Yeah, offensively, sure, nothing on the board, only 5 hits. But remember, they were facing Greg Maddux, who has 4 Cy Young Awards up on his mantle.
Well, 8th career start, and if it carries out so far, then Greg Maddux on opening day, 8 starts, 6 wins, with an earned run average under 2, and that'll lower again.
Absolutely. Strike on to Hammonds.
Tough challenge for the Rockies, but I thought that Estacio met him inning for inning until a couple of mistakes on 2 pitches. I tell you, it's a game of inches, and it appeared that way today on 2 pitches from Estacio. He pitched very well.
Hammonds. That one will slice foul, or hook foul, I should say, and out of play. Hammonds got that one off the end of the bat. A little bit out in front. So 2 strikes now to Jeffrey Hammonds. Hammonds with a double his last time up. Remlinger wanted that outside corner. It was off the plate, though, and it's 1-2.
Remlinger with a pretty good arm. The last fastball, 93 miles an hour.
Hammonds hits it into the gap in left center field. Sanders over to cut it off. Hammonds, though, will be able to trot into second with a double. And Hammonds now grabbing his hamstring, and you'll check on Jeffrey Hammonds.
So Jeffrey Hammonds may have to come out of this game after the double, as Hammonds and Tom Probst will come out to take a look, but it looked like Hammonds with a hamstring problem.
Well, when he stumbled going around to the bag, it looked like he grabbed the back of it right here as he approaches first base. Watch how he gets close to the stumble here. You see, I gave way with him a little bit. See the grimace on his face? And then the reach back and a grab of the hamstring. He's done for the day. No chance. No, there's just no sense in taking a chance this early in the season now. If it's just strained to where you lose him for a long period of time, but this has been the Achilles heel to Hammond's career has been injuries.
He has been crippled by injuries, literally and figuratively, in his career, and now Hammonds will check later to see how long he might be out. Who knows? He might be okay tomorrow, but right now it doesn't look good for Jeffrey Hammonds. And in comes Brian Hunter to take his spot. Hammonds, the good news, 2 doubles today. Now the bad news is the big question mark about the hamstring. We won't know until tomorrow on that. Well, a chance here for the Rockies if Neifi Perez can turn on one to tie things up. The tying run comes to the plate in the form of Neifi Perez. Bouncing ball, Jones has got it. That'll do it. Braves win 2-0. Galarraga, his home run made the difference in the game. Maddux goes to 1-0 as Maddux 7 2/3 shutout innings. Andruw Jones also a home run today. The Braves pick up where they left off. 103 wins last year, 1-0 so far in the 2000 campaign. Boy, the cat does it all, doesn't he? Now broadcasting for the Braves, Andres Galarraga. No, just getting ready for a post-game interview on their network. But Andres Galarraga with that home run, couple of fine catches in the field. Andres Galarraga, the Coors player of the game.
Stasio makes one mistake all day, and then this home run by Galarraga was the first. And that was a fastball that ended up staying in the middle of the plate, but down, and that's where Galarraga likes it. Boy, you say turn on that inside pitch, and a long fly ball, typical of a Galarraga home run. His are not line shots, more of a long, high fly ball in the home run. That put it up 1-0. Then the mistake to Jones made it 2-0, and that was the final.
Sure was. We'll come back to wrap things up from Turner Field in a moment. Welcome back to Turner Field, emptying fast now after the Braves start off the new century, the new millennium, with a 2-0 win over the Rockies today. Well played game by both teams. Great defensive plays. And it was just simply where Pedro Stasio made 2 mistakes. Both went for home runs. Maddux was perfect. And the Braves win it 2-0. George, your thoughts?
Well, I thought the same thing, Dave. I thought the ball club came out. They played hard. They hustled. They ran the bases when they got the opportunities. They took advantage of it when they could to get into scoring position. And I think everybody's sitting at home saying, okay, in the 6th, why didn't you pinch hit for Stasio? But I think, and not because I'm a former pitcher, but I just think as Buddy Bell and as a manager and as a ball club, you got to let your ace go back out there again, and you've got to give him the opportunity to win that ball game out on the mound and with his bat. It didn't work out today, but it will more times than not. A couple of mistakes by Stasio, the home runs, the bullpen, which had not performed well at all in spring training. Belinda comes in and does a nice job to hold it where it was, and the Rockies actually had somewhat of a chance there in the 9th inning against Rimlinger, just couldn't pull it off.
Now the question mark on Jeffrey Hammonds. We'll hope he's okay and ready to go for tomorrow's game. Hope it's something slight. So for George Frazier, Dave Armstrong saying so long from Turner Field, where the Braves win the opener 2-0. Join us tomorrow on Fox Sports Net Rocky Mountain for more Rockies action as Rolando Araujo makes his Rocky debut against Tom Glavine and the Braves. Starts at 5 Mountain, 6 Central. You've been watching Rockies baseball on Fox Sports Net Rocky Mountain. Coming up next, it's Baseball Max.